Okay, so for those of you that are not in class, I'm going to show you how you're going to do an Impressionist landscape using the method of wet on wet. That means both areas have to be wet. That means the paint is wet, and then you're applying it on the canvas when it's wet. So you're going to have all of your stuff, your colors set up, and I'm just going to use an old recycled canvas. I'm going to make this up out of my head, the landscape. This was from last week when I was showing you how to do tonalism and how to have an underpainting and how it makes the blue come out. And we did wet on wet. And you can see how the sky looks and it's a little bit more realistic. Now we're going to move away from that and I'm going to change this whole color, okay? So I'm going to, usually when I have a canvas that's really dark like that and I want to cover it, I can't cover it straight with a color. I'm going to have to add white to it because the white will cover the canvas and then I'm going to add a little bit of white paint to it. So now I have this blue and I'm going to dip my paint. Now when you're mixing, you're going to mix with the palette knife, right? But I'm doing it fast on camera here. And so I'm just picking up some white and I'm picking up a little bit of yellow. And I want to have it, let's add a little bit of brown in there maybe, just to give it some kind of interesting feeling. Again, I'm just making this up and I'm just covering this. And this is going to be like my sky. Okay? And I'm having this color and I'm utilizing it. It's kind of like this mustard brown. I have some sienna. I had a Hansa yellow and a cad and a tea white. And I'm covering this super fast. Okay? And it works for me because I have the underpainting and maybe this is going to be my sky. And you see how it brings in those colors already underneath? They look a little bit more interesting. Now in the bottom part, let's do this grass. I can leave this, but I'm just going to reiterate something that I did before, which is with the round brush. And I'm going to dip in the water, wipe it off. These are acrylics. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of green. I have phthalo green. I have my permanent green. And I have an ochre here, brown, which I could make from a purple. So this is the color, right? I have this I can make from a purple and lots of purple and a little bit of yellow. I could also make it with green, right? And what color would I add to the green out there? I'll let you figure that out. But, or I could have a green and an orange, okay? And then I'm adding a little bit of yellow. So I have my brush. I picked up, again, my phthalo green, a little bit of permanent green, and that ochre color. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab it here because I'm going to add like some, make it a little bit brighter here. Just adding some green on top here. And I'm just doing it fast. I don't have my easel. I can't, unfortunately it's to the side of me. Figure out what's going on here. And I'm just picking up the color again and just redabbing. And I get this kind of like texturized grass, right? Good for you to practice at home. We're just going to go along these borders. I'm going to pick this up, and I'm just changing the look of this canvas in 2 seconds. I'm going to pick it up again. Maybe you have a light area here. It's going to be reflecting some of this color coming down. If I want it dark, I pick up my brush, and I got those dark greens in there. And I can blend these colors, and I can go back with a light color, and I can put the light color on top. As you notice, I haven't cleaned my brush at all. And that gives me a variety of different types of colors. Look, I can go in there and put that. And if I press lightly, it kind of disappears, okay, into the next color. Okay, so I can keep doing this. And let's put some more shadows here. Put some darker colors. And the secret is, if it's oils, right, you're not going to press that hard because you don't want the colors to super blend. But you want it to go where it's like this nice soft radiation all over. Now, let's pretend I'm going, and I'm going to put more dark colors on here. I'm going to make this maybe a yellow and a black. But before I do that, let's clean my brush. I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm going to pick up some black and yellow. And remember, this is just the underpainting. This is basically of what you have before you're starting to get everything going here. Now, we can leave this color here, but I just want to blur it, so I'm going to go a little bit and I'm going to smooth it out and kind of make it go a little bit around. It's drying now. With the acrylics, with the oils, it's a little bit easier, but you can see how easy I can blend that, and it looks very soft. I'm getting rid of a lot of these lines that I had underneath, and it kind of looks different here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my round brush again, the larger round. You can see how thick it is. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to put some trees. But I'm going to change the color of the trees. So the trees is going to have a little bit of black and yellow. And we always remember when we have black and yellow, we have this olive kind of green kind of color. And I'm going to put that down here in a minute. But this is the underpainting. So I'm just going to do like a little tree here. Let's just pretend I'm doing it fast. And remember, when you're doing the tree, right, you kind of want to do it fast. And you're just leaving these negative spaces in between. And you want the tree, usually when I do the tree, I want to see all the parts. But in this situation, I don't want to. I want that tree to kind of blend into the background of this canvas where it looks very soft. In other words, it's becoming part of this background. Do you see how soft that is up there, right? There's no harsh lines. And I'm going to use a round brush that comes to a point, which is a liner or a rigger. Or if I want to do it fast, I could use my baby fan brush. It doesn't matter. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to pick up some of that color, and I'm going to drag a little bit of this down where you can barely see it. And the thing is, you have to do it when it's wet on wet. And I could still build up the tree, with a little bit of brown in here. I could bring it in. But do you see how light I'm doing it? And I'm going to go back over this and blend this again. So you're not really even going to see this area. So I'm just doing it wet on wet. And it doesn't matter if it's muddy, you're going to have more pieces here. Let's put some branches here or something, I don't know. Okay, just like this. And I'm going to keep covering this tree. So this is step one. Okay, so I got this stuff going on. Then I'm going to go back with the color, whatever color I'm going to choose, and I'm going to cover this again. In other words, I want this to kind of match this. I'm going to come back and I can drastically change the color. Okay, and some of that green is going to stay underneath, but do you see how the color changes when I put the color on top? Let me do it like this so you can see. Okay, and I'm getting rid of that bright green, and I really want to have as many colors as I can, and I'm just blending my yellows at this time and my blacks together so they're a little bit darker, and I'm coming and I'm just doing this on top of each other, and I'm going to keep doing it until I get rid of all these bright colors. Okay, you see how soft that looks, and it's starting to look. Now, I wouldn't just leave this like this. This is a very kind of boring landscape, right? I want to have things going over here. But you see how it looks very soft? The other way I could do it, let's do another tree over here, is I could take this brush and I could just go and I'm moving. What I'm doing is I'm going like this, and I'm just moving kind of like in this fast kind of circular motion. You see, I would probably put my branches underneath. I didn't do that now. I'm skipping this step. That's fine. And I get this fast impressionist. Remember, the thing about impressionism, it's not to get this super exact. If you look at these paintings, it's basically to have an impression of something that's there. Okay? And you see how fast you get the impression of that tree? So this tree is a little bit tighter, and this tree is a little bit looser. And it's kind of, if you want to blur the tree, you could smooth it like this. So let's just give it a bottom. Again, let's just give it something there. Just put it like this. Now I want to show you something. What I could do is when this is still wet, I could do something, what I call a tint study. And I'm going to dip my brush in my white. and I'm going to wipe it off on my rag, and then I'm going to slowly go over the whole canvas, and I'm going to do it very lightly. And what I could do is, while this is wet, I could take my rag, I'm going to show you in a minute, and I could go, you want to dip, wipe off, pick up a little bit of the white, and it's more like a wash, and you're kind of swirling it, where this is blurring, and you really, what's happening is, there's a little small white tint that's going on top of here, which is blurring this whole area. It's making it look almost like if it was dreamlike, or if there was some kind of fog. And you want to keep doing it. You have to do it while it's wet. When that happens, when you put the white on top, it also, you can't see the tree as well, but the background becomes very brighter. So you can see how this background, I'll show you, I'm going to stop here, is more like white behind it, and then the other one is not. Okay? So you want to keep doing that, and then you want to keep blurring your brush, and you want to keep going back over it. And you can go and do about 5 or 6 washes. You can even add the washes of different colors on top to make that blurry. So I'll show you the difference between this side and this side. And then I'm kind of blurring this all together. And I have 2 different types of effects. So you can see on the right, I got this going on, right? And on the left, I got that. Okay? And then you want to keep doing that. And you don't have to do it in this. You could do it like in a gray. It could be a gray wash on top. But the idea is you want that to look very, very blurry. Okay? So you can try it. And I'll finish this. I'll make it into something, because now it doesn't look like anything. Okay? So try that at home. Okay.